G'day everyone, my name's IsaacBest777 and welcome back to CharityCraft. Now this is a video that really is for the purpose of me reminiscing and talking about the history of this series and why it disappeared, what happened, and just kind of marking this moment because it's been 7 years since the first time we uploaded a video for this series. Now, it's not exactly a long-running series or anything particularly spectacular, but it was important for me and it was important for what I wanted to do with both RonanCraft and the friends that I had on RonanCraft. And so I really wanted to have some kind of marking of the fact that it's been 7 years since we started this, even though it stopped less than a couple months after it started and only had a single entry the next year and then just stopped ever since. It still felt very significant to me, and I think I need to make this video not only because it's been 7 years and it's worth mentioning and remembering, but if you haven't noticed, the number 7 is kind of significant to me. So, being as it's been 7 years, and being as this would be the 7th episode in the series and the overall season, I wanted to just come on the server, just on the world. This is still 1.12, and just kind of look around, talk about what happened, why the server shut down, why RonanCraft itself, the public server, shut down, and just basically reminisce and talk about the lessons I've learned in those 7 years of growth and trying to make things happen on here. But I also wanted to use this video kind of as an opportunity to start some new things. In a couple weeks, I'm going to try and do some charity live streams in order to help raise some funds for some friends who are not doing well. Some of them are homeless and some of them are at risk of homelessness. And I wanted to raise awareness for that and kind of carry the spirit of CharityCraft forward by doing these charity streams. And I figured there's no better way to do that than to also put it into an actual CharityCraft episode. If you look in the description below, there will be a few links to a few things that you might be interested in, as well as a GoFundMe for one of the people I'm going to be raising money for. I realize GoFundMes, sometimes it's hard to trust where the money's going, but I've known these people that I'm going to raise money for years, and I can definitely tell you it's going to a good place and will help these friends get better. In this case, the first person I'll be raising money for is homeless, and although she has been raising some money and is making some progress towards getting out of that situation, it's obviously not easy, and any help will be appreciated. And I just want to be able to help her get past her current situation and be in a better place, which really was kind of the whole point of this server to begin with. So I figure I might as well mention it. That being said, why don't I talk about more about what actually happened to this server and what it actually meant to me and what it all really means, I think. Alright, so I'm going to kind of just spectator around the world here, and I'll kind of mention what these things are just kind of for posterity and for memory's sake. Maybe someone else will be watching this in the future that used to play on this server or knew someone that did. And if you do, go ahead and make a comment or check the description. I'll have a link to the still surviving Discord server for RonanCraft, and I'll be on there. Even if it's not active, I'll stay on there. And if you're one of the people who were here way back in the day, I'd certainly love to hear from you. But what I want to talk about first is sort of the whole purpose of this and the whole inspiration for this, the history, the why, and the what. First of all, it was sort of intended to be a combination of the community-driven sort of servers that I saw back in the day that were really powerful and really popular, such as HermitCraft. I kind of wanted to capture the popularity that that server and other servers like it had, both through its content creators, but also through not only the viewers, but also the tertiary servers that some of those content creators made just for people who were fans of them or who were fans of the server. One of the leaders of the server, of HermitCraft specifically, Zumavoid, he also had his own creative server called XVS, and I played there quite extensively. And it's through there that I met a friend named Skyjack, who was a friend of Ronan, who is the owner of the RonanCraft network and the guy that helped me build CharityCraft. And through that sort of friendship, we basically built RonanCraft up and did a whole bunch of things with it. It was never super popular in terms of like player count or anything, but we continued all kinds of ideas and beta tested a whole bunch of things. He built custom plugins for the server, did a whole bunch of things with custom advancements and all sorts of things. And I would help with trying to build things in the server, such as spawns and other stuff like that. And we did that for a number of years through a number of Minecraft updates, and met a number of other people who kind of wanted to help or just wanted to play on the server. And we took a few of these people, including some of them who were mods or who were more friends, and we eventually decided, hey, let's make a whitelisted server, a private thing. And I don't remember exactly whether it was initially supposed to be for content creation or not, but I had the idea to kind of model after these other servers like HermitCraft to create a private server that we could make videos about and maybe hopefully generate interest in the main server, which would be public. But it was also about the charity thing, and genuinely I wanted that to be pretty much the core of the whole thing. I was very much inspired by other YouTubers who did charity live streams and other things like that, like Markiplier, who raised millions of dollars of money, really, sometimes all at once in one stream, for all kinds of different charities, all through basically just the fact that they were popular online. And the only reason they were popular online was making videos, really. And obviously, making it big on YouTube, so to speak, and all that sort of stuff is really kind of catching lightning sometimes. And I knew that, and I never intended it to be super popular or anything. At least I never figured it would be, and didn't mind if it wasn't. But I always wanted to do this sort of thing, both with friends and because of friends, to both enjoy and be with them, and also to hopefully make some kind of impact in the world that was positive. And so that was kind of the purpose. We basically just wanted to make a bunch of videos about this server, advertise RonanCraft itself through that to generate interest and popularity, and to use that popularity to then make charity live streams where we would raise money and do fundraisers for various charities around the world. Unfortunately, a number of things didn't go too well in terms of management and things like that, which I'll get into a little bit later. But long story short, we eventually sort of moved on, really. Now, it's not to say we didn't try, but part of the problem was that I was basically sort of the core motivator behind everything. Ronan was sort of the real owner of the server and really the main reason that the server existed, and I owe pretty much everything to him in that regard. But he's just sort of took my ideas and ran with them. Now, it's not a negative thing. I gave him the ideas in the first place, but I was sort of the idea guy and he was sort of the guy that did the thing, which was good for a while, but I needed to contribute more than I did. Unfortunately, for a few reasons, I didn't, and it sort of slowly deprecated and came to what it is now, which is basically a quiet server where people come to ask for plugin help, but not much else. And it's sad because all these years I've had a sense of it being my fault, and I've always wanted to do more with it. But 7 years later, it's kind of crazy to think that it's even been that long. And I've had a lot of time to think about it, and I've had a lot of time to feel like I could have done differently or could have done this or that, etc. And I wanted to make this video both to kind of reminisce about those things and maybe give someone else a positive message, but also to kind of send a message to people who were here originally, if they're ever out there ever checking the old videos, that I do remember you, and I do regret that things fell apart, and I do wish that someday we can see each other again, even if it's just for a little while. And just kind of feel like it's important to say something today, since it's been such a long time. So what exactly did happen? Why did it really fall apart? And what is all this stuff that I've been looking at? Well, first of all, I'll cover the latter. This hillside up here in the mesa, it was my base and a friend called Ezrath's base. We sort of jointly built this up. I built the wall and stuff like that, and she built a lot of the houses and areas over here, including this wolf head. I built this hot tub, which you can tell was pre-aquatic update because I didn't bother using the bubbles that magma can make. I remember it taking forever to get the magma itself in the first place. But she built this weird fire temple down here and stuff like this. It's all stuff that never really got used much, but she definitely had a lot of fun here. This is sort of a prank that someone did. I can't remember who did it, but if you couldn't tell what that is, I'm sure you'll figure it out. Over here is a rail to Ronan's base, which is hidden in the mesa over here somewhere. I believe it's down here. He's got a whole bunch of underground stuff, including an unfinished beacon basement that I didn't even know he had. This area here is basically the spawn, the true spawn. It's somewhere in here is 0, 0. I think it might be inside that building there. Or maybe this one. I can't remember who was building this. I think it might have been Ronan, but some sort of vault door or something. This is sort of the spawn building. All our junk is in here. And this is a vault door, which there's a whole episode about in the series. Ronan tried to make a vault door. I came in, helped a bit. He helped me a bit, and we eventually figured it out and got this thing built. I did a lot of the aesthetics in here. Kind of liked it. I didn't even realize it was death diamonds. I always thought it was just a money vault over so many years. I was completely wrong. The door actually opens with a hidden key as well, right here on this block. Yeah, typing's real fun. Took us forever to figure that out. But yeah, there's a lot of different things on here. It's not really a super full server or anything, but just a bunch of friends got on, played for a while, and had some fun. There's a spawner over there somewhere I was looking at earlier. And over here in the nether, which we'll go through in a second. Sort of hub, which never really got turned into much. But there's a few different places that people have gone out to. Down this way there is a hidden room someone has built. Still burning. Not quite sure who built this area, but somewhere out in the mesas somewhere. Oh. And, well, that's not where I came in. I'll be right back. Here we are. This is the Nether hub. It's amazing how different the Nether is nowadays in the game. If you've ever seen anybody play or have played Minecraft in recent times, things have changed quite a bit. I don't even know if you can still do this trick right here. Kill a wither, basically trapping it in bedrock. I don't even know if that still works. But down this way, we have, let's see, there's another portal over there. I think that's my portal. Down this way. Total mess down here. Nope, it's not my portal. And whose portal is this? Even I don't know. I still don't know. Must be his portal. Hello. Don't know how you got up here. There's no hole. Well, enjoy your swim. Out here in the ocean there was a perimeter I was trying to build at some point. There's a water temple out here. I forget what they're called. Ocean Monument, I think. Yeah. Back then I watched Zoomovoid and Mumbo Jumbo and would always be inspired by their massive builds and conversions of landmarks and things like that. So I kept really kind of doing my own version of that, although I never actually finished those projects. I definitely wanted to. Here's another one. Oh, this is the one. I remember clearing one out, but I could never find it. There it is. But over here, I think... Nope. Here we are. This is my base over here, way out in the ocean somewhere. I built this template here out of slabs. I was originally going to make some structure here. And it's also right over the end portal. I'm going to build a whole base down here. I did do quite a bit of work. Even though beacon mining was a thing then, it took a while to get the beacons in the first place, and even then it would still take sometimes hours to even get anywhere near this kind of work. But I spent a long time on her, even by myself, just continuing to work for days and days and days, because I went a lot further than that. And this isn't even close to probably half of what I intended. I intended really to go all the way out this far, which is just insanity, probably even now with things like netherite and such. And this is kind of an example of what I think really killed the server. Over ambition. I really wanted to do a lot of stuff and to do a lot of stuff, and always had big ideas for huge builds and crazy artistic things, and always wanted to do more and more and more, but never really finished those things. And even if I could finish something, a lot of times it wouldn't really be all that well made, or I would have help. Part of the reason for that is because I have a number of struggles in my own personal life. Primarily, and I didn't know this at the time, I have what's called ADHD, and I also have what's called autism. Now, autism is a sort of neurological thing where you are basically neurologically different. It isn't a disorder or a disability necessarily, but it means that I think differently and have other differences in my social behavior and stuff like that, and how I learn. And one of the biggest things is that it can often come with something called executive dysfunction, which basically means that I have trouble managing my time and doing things, basically. Sometimes it's starting, sometimes it's finishing, but I just don't always manage to do stuff by myself, which is a pain. Now, I'm high enough functioning that I hold a job and I'm normal, so to speak, but sadly I don't do quite well with managing some of these things by myself all the time. I've gotten a lot better at that, and over the last 7 years it's changed quite a bit, especially because I've learned more about these things. But back in the day, I had no idea that was really even a thing, much less how to handle it. Here we built an ender. This thing was the most advanced Enderman spawner at the time. Look how simple it is now. Nowadays there's a much faster and probably way easier to build version. Although it definitely worked for us. Every single one of these chests full of ender pearls. it took forever to get this bridge. But on top of that, I also have what's something called ADHD, and in that case, which you may have heard of, I have trouble with focusing and with thinking clearly, and sometimes my thoughts race and other times they're sort of clouded, and it's easy to lose track of thoughts, and sometimes even in my sentence structure it sounds like I have a point but then don't make the point, because my sentence structure is actually multiple sentences strung together, because that's how my thoughts work. Well, in something like a project or a game, I end up kind of literally doing the same thing. I'll do one thing and then do another and then another, and not really actually get anywhere, even though I have lots of ideas, because I just start something, don't finish it, or I have an idea but then I never act on it. It's really frustrating sometimes. But although I've been doing a lot to change that over the last couple of years, way back when I had no idea about these things, and it sort of led to some, I would say, collapses in the overall effectiveness of something like a group server. Ultimately, it's just a game and just a bit of fun, really, but when you're trying to make a business out of it, or you're trying to make some sort of money out of it, you really need to have that function and have that ability to manage yourself and manage not only your own expectations and own self-management, to say, hey, this is what I can do, this is what it's going to take to do that, and how much time it's going to take, and the money and whatever else that might need to go into something. But also to say when you shouldn't do something, or when something's too much, or when you should break something up into smaller parts. Something which I just didn't understand back then, or at least didn't know how to take advantage of that kind of advice. Here we have a temple that was built by someone called Sao Panda. I might be mispronouncing that. It was S-A-U Panda. But they were a friend for a little while on the server, and I never really connected on Discord or anything like that, which we later connected a bunch of people on. But we built this nice temple. I like the design. If you're ever out there, buddy, it is cool builds. These houses I showed you earlier, and those other houses out in the distance, are also other people's work, including this one, I think, other than me, Ronan, Ezrath, or Sao Panda. Another thing that sort of contributed to the server and RC's downfall as well, RonanCraft, the public side of things, was really because we just didn't know what we were doing. And it's ironic because at the time it really wasn't that hard to build a server, and it isn't really that hard today. The hard part is maintaining it and growing it. And although Ronan had a lot more experience than me at the time, and definitely has more now, I think he also kind of has that overambition sort of thing going on. Not to dig on him or anything, I'm sure he'll see this video eventually, since it's going to go up on his channel, but one way or another, you had a lot of big ideas, just like I did, and neither of us managed to make them happen, or because random things would happen that would set us back. I remember RonanCraft itself had a hacker attack at some point, and literally everything was like deleted, which is just stupid. But we managed to recover some things like that, but eventually just moved on from doing the server thing at all. And what does this all mean? What's the point? Well, again, reminiscing, marking the time, the fact that this is 7 years later, it's a big deal for me at least. And maybe someone out there will remember and look back and say, hey, I was there. But also saying something to other people. Because again, the primary reason this server existed at all was to make others happy at the end of the day. I didn't quite see that clearly at the time, but it really was for the purpose of charity, and not just charity in the terms of raising money sense, but in the sense of I'm going to do something that gives other people something positive with my time. I'm going to use my time to do something that doesn't just make me happy, it doesn't just make me less bored, but actually contributes to someone else's well-being, even if it's only through basically entertainment. And in addition to that, taking that entertainment and somehow managing to make it more help, because then it also brings people at least their attention to something that needs help, so that maybe they can give some help to that person, or maybe there's some cause that can be raised awareness for or money for. And the sort of message that I've sort of been thinking about and landing on in my mind as I think about all this stuff is that one of the things I missed the most and have missed the most about this server and about the friends that I had from here and about the point of the server is that was also about the friends that were there. Certainly I wanted to grow the place and have all kinds of, live streams and everything, and I definitely think that could have been fun and really great, but at the end of the day, I had people there around me that enjoyed being around me, at least to some degree. And although a lot of us have grown up and changed and moved on, and I have no hard feelings for any of the people who were here, by the way, I miss it, son. And I miss having that sort of place to belong. And I think that the whole point of the server, the point of helping each other and helping people be happy, it kind of fulfilled that in of itself. And what's my point? I guess I don't really know. It's hard to say. Am I making some kind of philosophical statement? Who knows? Honestly, I'm no philosopher. But I enjoyed my time here, and I want someday to do similar things. And I do fully intend to at least do some level of charity money raising for my friends, my current friends, in the near future. But whether that's a new CharityCraft server or series ever happening in the future, I don't know. I still wanted to come here and say something about the server and talk about why it disappeared and just make a statement about how important it was to me, because it was important, and it was important to the other people who were here, at least for a while. And I think the thing that I want to say before I sort of close this out is that the most important thing, I think, not only in my life, but I think that everyone should understand is the most important thing in their life, is the ability to love and feel loved. It's not easy sometimes, and sometimes it's actually really hard. Not only because when I mean love, I don't mean just feelings, really. Those are not love, those are just emotions. When I think of love, I think of doing things for people and going out of your way to help somebody, or go to a job that really sucks so that you can make some money for somebody that you care about. Basically, selflessness. But sometimes selflessness can also be a mutually beneficial exchange of time or friendship, including hanging out on a stupid block building game and building silly things and cool things just for fun. Not only to build those friendships that you have, but also just for the heck of it. But being able to do something more with that, to take it beyond just a server with people on it, that was my goal. I didn't manage that goal in this case, but I think that it's important to recognize that it did meet the goal, in the sense that it, at least for temporary purposes, was a server of friends helping each other be happy for at least a little while. And that's important for me to mention and to mark, because it's been a long time. And I don't want to just completely move on from things or disappear into the nothingness of the internet without at least acknowledging it. Because the people here were important to me, and some of them I still have contact with. Ronan, for example, I still hear from here and there. He's actually doing a 3D printing service. I'll include a link there in the description. As I mentioned, I'll also include a link to the Discord, so if you're ever interested in joining the server, it's not super active, but I'm always there, so you can always reach me. I have the same username as I do here on Minecraft. And I'd certainly like to hear from the old friends if you're out there. But I value the time that we had here, and I'm glad that it existed. Because for me, it really is about the friendships. It really is about what I had and what I sort of lost in some cases because of how things went. Some of it was not my fault, or it's really unfair to say that it was my fault, because obviously people drift, people disappear. And on Minecraft, especially since a lot of this was pre-Discord days, or people just weren't on the Discords that we used. You know, you log onto a server, you talk for a while, and then you sort of disappear, right? It's hard to maintain a friendship that way unless you're active there for a long time. But had I been more attentive, more focused, more self-managed, maybe it would have been different. And so I sort of miss it a lot. That being said, though, I don't want this to be some long, depressing rant, which I guess it already kind of is, but I came to make this video both because I wanted to mark the history and capstone the series, so to speak, with the 7th episode that I wanted to do for a while, and just sort of sending off this server, really. I kind of intended to do more with it, maybe finish some of the builds, but really that's a lot of work and I'm lazy. And maybe I'll do something in the future again, another server or another thing. I'm going to play Minecraft, I think, on the charity live streams I'll do soon, which, by the way, I'm mentioning specifically on video because I want there to be a record that I'm going to do it publicly so that I can basically shame myself into doing it. But it probably won't be on this server, and I think that it would probably be pointless to do it on this server. I think I'd rather just sort of leave things as they are. And I probably won't start another CharityCraft dedicated server for any time soon if I ever do. But I will leave in the description links to pretty much everything I've mentioned. I'll have a link to the series playlist. I'll have a link to Ronan's 3D print service if you're interested in that. I'll have a link to the Discord if you ever want to reconnect or just kind of look around. Like I said, the actual Minecraft RonanCraft server is no longer active. We decided to shut down a while ago. And the plugin service that Ronan has had for a while is also kind of in a hiatus because he's been focusing on other things like the 3D printing and his job. And it's just not easy to constantly answer questions about better RTP. But the server's still there. And I'll also leave a link to the GoFundMe for my friend Lauren, who is the first person I'll try to raise money for since she's probably in one of the most urgent needs. The current GoFundMe says it's been met, but it can still be donated to, and she definitely still needs more. So we'll maybe update it before I do the actual stream, but any donations to that is absolutely appreciated. And yeah, I hope that this reaches somebody. I mean, Ronan will probably see it. Hi. But if you're not Ronan and you did play on this server, and you're also not Ezrath, because I'll probably send this to you, also hi. Hi. Maybe if you're out there and you want to join the Discord server, that would be nice. But if not, I hope you're well, and I hope that you have a good life. And I hope anyone else that sees the server that doesn't have any connection to it, or maybe they're doing their own Minecraft series, think about what I've said. Maybe you're not like me, or you're better at this, but if you ever do a thing, or you have trouble doing a thing and you want to do it, don't let not being able to do it, or don't let doing it make you miss the things that you really should be paying attention to. And I think for most people, the answer to that is your friendships, the people that are in your life that matter, which can often be hard to recognize. Because ultimately this block building game, it's full of memories for me and full of fun, and can be really, really powerful, I think, if used correctly. But the real joy for me is in the things that you can get by interacting with others. The friendships and the good things that come from that. At any rate, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my inane old man rambles. But again, please check the description. If you're new here, I'll leave a playlist link as well, as I mentioned, and you can kind of look back at our cringy amateur videos if you really want to. Most of them are made by Ronan, but I did do some of the editing. And it's not bad, but it's not great either. But hey, it's fun. And again, I will be probably raising money for charity for my friends. I would say next week, not next week, but the week after that. But I won't promise an exact date yet. And I won't exactly promise what I'll do. But I'll probably stream to this channel and just kind of play some games and just talk about life and exist for a while and hopefully get some attention and make some money. If you're out there and you're listening and you want to do that, go ahead and give us a share, and maybe someone will notice and spend some money helping a friend. And that's really the whole point of CharityCraft, and really even the point of RonanCraft. It was to make things and to enjoy doing it with friends, and to use that to make others happy, whether it was just through entertainment or charity or just being together with friends. That really was the point. And someday, I hope I can do it again. Thanks for watching. God bless.